What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. I'm your girl, Lady and the Chef, not joined by my co-host, Diva Locks. Diva Locks will be back, guys. She's not going to be able to join me on as many episodes, but nonetheless, when she is here, we will continue to bring content. But nonetheless, I'm here. We have a great game to talk about where the Knicks hosted and played against the Denver Nuggets. It's a fantastic win against the Knicks. I was highly impressed by the way the Knicks played together as a team. I thought the Knicks took care of business against a Denver team who I believe was 3-1 on the road. But I know some people were saying Denver had just came off of a road trip uh, set of games, which means nothing to me because it doesn't matter. And what's more impressive too was that the Knicks also did it without Isaiah Hartenstein in the game. So the last two games the Knicks have played without Hart on the floor, but between Sims and Precious Achua, they've been stepping up to the plate, especially Precious. I like what I've been seeing from him. And I know there's been a lot of fans who've been sleeping on him himself and his play, but I thought it was a great game. The Knicks did beat Denver 84 to 122. And the fact that the Knicks held Denver to under 100 points, and also the fact that Denver never took the lead in the game. So I love that the Knicks kept control of the game and they were able to handle business also at home because that's so important, and the Knicks haven't been able to do that. Um, as far as the team stats go, the Knicks were at 52% field goal percentage. Denver was at 40. The Knicks shot 39% from three. They were 15 for 38. Denver was only at 19%. Free throws, the Knicks were at 85%. They were 17 for 20. Denver was at 84%. The Knicks finished with 44 total rebounds, 12 offensive rebounds, and 32 defensive boards. Knicks finished with 26 assists. They had 3 blocks, 12 steals, where Denver only had 2 steals. So the Knicks were very active with their hands and their feet. And one of the best stats for me was that the Knicks only had 8 turnovers. And I've been saying with the last few games that the Knicks have been having way too many turnovers. I mean, we were talking 21, 23, 17 here. It's just way too many. And I find when the Knicks keep it under to 10 or less, they're a lot more successful at winning games. So the fact that they only had 8 turnovers, I'm impressed by that. And then the points in the paint is another great stat for me that stood out where the Knicks had 58 points in the paint. And that's another big factor that I brought up that I want to see the Knicks doing more is getting the easier baskets in the paint and not just settling for shots. But the way that the Knicks played against Denver was so impressive to me for the simple fact that the Knicks were moving the ball, guys were cut into the basket. Seems like Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson were trusting passing the ball to guys like Grimes, who had a really great game, to Deuce McBride, who also was a nice contributor to the game. I thought both Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson had really good games. And I thought the scoring was well balanced for the Knicks, whereas on Denver, they only had 2 guys in double figures. With Aaron Gordon, he had 12 points, and Jokic he finished with a double double, had 31 points, 11 rebounds. Sims wasn't really a match for him, but I thought Sims gave him a run for his money to the best that he could. And then as far as the Knicks had really well balanced scoring for guys where we had 6 guys in double figures. Julius Randle finished with 17 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. OG Anunoby, this was like his highest scoring game, I believe, so far as a Knick. He finished with 26 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Jericho Sims had 2 points. He did have 8 rebounds. Jalen Brunson finished with 21 points, 4 assists. Dante DiVincenzo finished with 16 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. Josh Hart finished with 7 rebounds, 4 points, 3 assists. Precious Achua had 10 boards, 2 points, 3 assists. Quentin Grimes finished with 19 points, 5 rebounds, and Miles McBride had 13 points. I thought this was a really good game from Quentin Grimes. He seemed very confident playing out there, especially in the fourth quarter where Tibbs had took out the starters, which I thought rightfully so, allowed them to sit down and have the second unit come in. But Quentin Grimes looked super comfortable. I mean, dribbling the ball, catching the ball. He was driving. I liked what I saw with him driving to the basket. He looked really aggressive and just confident going up with his shot. I like the repertoire that I saw from him, and I would like to see that more from him. I find when Quentin Grimes has these really good games, he gets quiet the next 2 or 3 games. So I think, with him, I think it's that consistency. But maybe this could be a boost from him moving forward, and that he can prove that he can be a true asset to the team, which we know he can. But he's been very up and down. And then Miles McBride, I thought he played a pretty good game too. I think he's been pretty steady so far. We know he can shoot the ball. He's worked on his shot. He looks confident. And Dante DiVincenzo's steadily been consistent. I have to give him that, where he's given about 15, 16 points a game, which I'm really loving. And then, of course, you had your dynamic duo between Randall and Brunson, who both had really good games. And Randall didn't really need to go off in that game just because you had other guys who stepped up and got the job done as well. And then OG Anunoby was just, I mean, very active. He was just in the right spots when he needed to be. He had 6 steals, OG Anunoby. And that's impressive. I mean, this guy, his defense is just there. He's always reading where the passes are going. He makes the right decisions and the right plays. I loved what I saw from him. So he was just in the right places and where we needed him. And I think his plus minus is at like 36, but just really impressive though, what I'm seeing from him. Free throws, Julius Randle hit all of his, Jalen Brunson hit all of his, Dante DiVincenzo hit all of his, and OG was at 60%. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from this Knicks team. And I think the reason why I'm liking what I'm seeing is because the Knicks, I've said this before, when they play as a team, they're a lot more successful, right? Versus when it's just individual play or it's heavy Randall and Brunson. And I think both Randall and Brunson are starting to trust their teammates more, and they're starting to share the ball with guys and passing it to guys like Grimes or passing it to guys like Deuce McBride, because they're seeing that they're making those shots. And I think especially like with Grimes, if he doesn't get in his head and he's able to just go to the hole, he can truly be a nice part of the supporting cast that the Knicks do need. So I like the pace of that game and how they came out. I want to say it reminded you of the Sixers game, but to me, this was better. This was a better win. I thought even with the Sixers the game wasn't sloppy. Guys just looked like they came out ready to just come out with energized in the first quarter. And then the same thing, as far as when the halftime came, Denver could not even get close because the Knicks just put their foots on their necks and never let go. And I know at the end of the game, Alan Hahn had interviewed Dante DiVincenzo, and DiVincenzo mentioned something to the degree of like, we wanted to come out, swinging, and we punched and, get these guys down, something to that degree. But I think if the Knicks keep that mentality, whether you're playing the really great teams in the league or you're playing teams that are not that great, that's what you need. You got to have that rough, tough, we're not playing with anybody and we're nobody to be played with, and we need more respect on our name. And I was actually talking to Diva Locks before I went on late this afternoon, and she was saying it's just so funny how like the Knicks just don't have any respect in the league. And I told her, unfortunately, the Knicks are not going to get that respect until they start proving that they can be a winning team and they're contenders. And I think the Knicks have a lot of people watching and noticing what they're doing right now in the league. But I think the Knicks have to resort to winning. They have to be known as a team who makes the playoffs every year, and not just the first round and the second round of the playoffs, but they have to go to the Eastern Conference Finals and show that they're proven to be a finals caliber, championship caliber team, right? So I think the Knicks, if they can prove that they can be a winning team and they can be consistent at winning and have a good regular season and show that fight and not lose chippies that they should be winning and losing, and then winning against teams that not only that they should be beating, but those teams like your Bostons, like your Milwaukee's, like Philadelphia, like Denver, like OKC, like Utah and Miami. You got to be able to beat these teams. And I'm not saying Miami's good, but I think it just proves that they're one of those teams that could be very sneaky. They were an eighth seed all last season, but they were able to crawl back. But nonetheless, I think the Knicks have to be known as a team who can prove that they can win. And I think that's where the respect is going to start to be within the team. I think it's unfortunate that a lot of fans didn't vote in Jalen Brunson. And I heard a caller calling into ESPN, and he was saying, I think he was saying how he's a huge Knicks fan. And for him, he was saying he thinks that fans, especially in New York, didn't vote for Jalen Brunson because not that they don't like him, but because he's not flashy like a Trey Young, and he's not out there doing all of that shooting damn near from the other end of the court or doing all of these fancy moves. And I hear that, but I don't think that's what makes a player worthy of getting a lot of votes to get voted as an all-star. I mean, but then again, when you also look at, I think part of it is social media. Trey Young has a huge amount of followers, and Jalen Brunson doesn't have as many followers. Again, not that those things should matter, but those are contributing factors as to who's getting voted in. But it just sucks, and I say shame on you, New York Knicks fans, and those of you who didn't go out there and vote consistently every day, or even vote at all. And I know sometimes the All Star break can be known as very dry. The past few years hasn't been entertaining. I'm gonna be very honest. I haven't been entertained by watching the All Star game, or the All Star weekend for that matter. The dunk contest has been trash. Um, the skills challenge. I'd rather watch a good movie, honestly. And I will watch the game, but it just hasn't been the way it used to be back where it was like super exciting. You was looking forward to like really good dunk contest. It just hasn't been any of that. But I still don't think that it excuses the fact that fans didn't actually take that time to actually vote for JB. And he's very well deserving of getting into the All Star. And it's funny because I had a thought to myself, a lot of you don't even like Randall, but you voted him in. So I'm really trying to make the math on that equation. But again, I digress. I still think that Jalen Brunson, he is get going in as a reserve, but he should have been voted in as a starter. Damian Lillard in over Jalen Brunson, not really sure how that works. But nonetheless, it is what it is. I think that the Knicks team have to keep their eye on the prize. You celebrate a little on that great win, and now you got to get ready for Miami tomorrow. And Miami hasn't been playing well. This hasn't been their season, but again, they had a season just very reminiscent of this last year, where they made it through, but they scratched and clawed at the end of the season. In the postseason, they somehow were knocking down shots, and they were able to get past a lot of teams, one by one. But I think with the Knicks, with the way that they're playing, to me, I feel confident that the Knicks truly can beat teams in the league. And even if you have games like where the Knicks played Utah and we lost to them, and the Knicks should have won that game. And I know people were saying, oh, it was the altitude and this, and the Knicks would want a very rough road games, set of road games that they had going on, right? But I think that the Knicks, they have to come out ready to play against these teams and just go hard. You know what I mean? And to be able to they can beat these teams. You can beat Utah again. But what I want to see is that if you're playing the series, because that's how it is throughout an NBA season, right? The Knicks are playing teams at least 5 times in a row. Not in a row, excuse me, but at least 5 times throughout the season, right? It's spread out. Sometimes it's back to back. But I think that with the Knicks, they have to figure out a way to not allow teams to beat them 3, 4 times and they get that one win against them. Like I want to see the Knicks really challenge teams throughout the different series that they have with other teams. The teams that they're beating, great. But like Boston, we struggled against them. And the Knicks were at that time when we played Boston in the beginning of the season, they were finding their footing, right? But now that we're at midway point of the season and the Knicks are now heating up and they're cooking and guys are gelling and they're playing as a team, I want to see them beat the teams like when we play Utah next Tuesday, which, by the way, Diva Locks and I will be at that game. So we will vlog some content there so that way we can post it up on our channel and then you guys can be able to take a look at that. But I want to see the Knicks take advantage of playing these other teams in the league who they may have lost to and they should have won those games and they were close games. I will say though, I'm happy that the Knicks haven't been getting blown out. They're not a team like years prior where they were just known to get blown out in games, which was so embarrassing. I remember at one point the Knicks used to get booed at the Garden, but now it's just so refreshing to watch them play like how they did in the game yesterday. They played like it meant something. They came out with intent, and guys were just the defense was there. I mean, the defense looked really, really good, and Knicks have been doing very good on the defensive end. I really like what I'm seeing from the Knicks on the defensive end. I know a lot of people say, defense is not all that, but I think that's a big contributing factor to teams winning in this game of basketball. So I think that the Knicks have to just continue on where they're at and keep building from there. They will go far if they stay on track and stay focused. This is not the time to digress and slow down or plateau. I think even if you guys have guys like your Hartensteins, like your Mitch who are out, they will be back. But in the meantime, other guys have to be ready to step up and go in and get the job done. And they can do that as well. So when we play tomorrow, which is an early game, the Knicks play at 3 p.m. against Miami. The game comes on ABC. That's going to be a good game. I want to see the Knicks take care of business the same way they did against Denver. Get the win. You could rest. You don't play again, I believe, until Tuesday. They play against Utah. So I want to see the Knicks come out with that same energy that they did against Denver, against Miami, and take advantage and put them away. Especially you got to watch guys like Bam, Jimmy. They got Tyler Hero. You got to watch those guys because then they start getting hot. They're passing the ball. Bam plays very dirty. We saw what he did to us last season in the playoffs. He killed the Knicks, especially Julius Randle. He like literally intentionally stepped on his ankle. And I don't care what anybody say, because if you're a true Knicks fan and you was watching the playoffs, you saw where he did that. But the Knicks are capable of beating anybody in the league. I'm not just saying just in the Eastern Conference. I'm speaking also for the Western Conference. The Knicks are capable of beating teams in the league. And I just think that they have to prove that they're going out here, they're going to put their foot on guys on teams' necks and take care of business, especially home court, where the Knicks have been playing very well at home. On the road, they've been okay, but at home, which is a change for once, they've been winning games. As much money as they charge for the tickets to those games, that's the least you could do is win some games at home for the fans. So yeah, I thought the Knicks had great control throughout that game. Each quarter the Knicks took care of business. The start of the first quarter, the Knicks outscored the Nuggets 21-33. Second quarter, Knicks scored 29, Denver 20. Third quarter, and this is what I love to see, the Knicks scored 36, Denver 25. Fourth quarter, Knicks scored 24, Denver 18. Like that's how you take care of business and you let teams know that you're not playing around. Like you're not going to just roll all over us or look at the schedule and look when you see that you're playing the Knicks, that it's an easy win. So I shout out to the Knicks for really taking care of business and keeping Denver well under 100 points. I thought that was an impressive victory for them, and I would like to see more of that. Salute Eddie. Salute Parrish. He said the fan base and the team failed Brunson. We should have seen billboards up. I agree with that too. That's a great point, Parrish, because I actually thought of that. I was like, I felt like, I don't know, like they should have advertised it more for like the fans to just like, maybe even before games, advertise to get Brunson voted in. I just didn't see any of that. It was very, I mean, just when you went to the website, or I think once or twice I saw something pop up while watching other content creators' channels on YouTube, and but it was more so an advertisement for the All-Star game and to vote, and that it's going to be in Indiana this year. But I just thought the Knicks, to me, should have, I don't know, they should have just ramped it up, the marketing, to get Brunson those votes. I just thought they did fail him, and the fans did too. I don't know, like if it's a New York thing and we just don't vote for guys, but then that doesn't make sense. Carmelo Anthony was voted in. Julius Randle was voted in. I don't know what's the deal with that, but I think it's like a combination of things. But nonetheless, like Brunson is out there carrying the team. He carried the team on his back last year, and he's been really holding it down. And I'm not sure why Knicks fans haven't went out and went hard to vote him into the game. It's just very strange to me. Eddie said, we won because we started strongly and held our own within 5 minutes of the third quarter. Absolutely. And that's what the Knicks have to do more. They have to have strong third quarters. You can't come out sluggish and have slow starts, and then you want to try to catch up in the fourth, and now you're playing back and forth. You can't do that. You can't do that. And the Knicks, one thing I commend them for is something that I'm always harping on is the Knicks have to learn how to get a lead in games and maintain the lead in games. So I thought the Knicks did a great job with having a nice huge lead and they maintained the lead. They didn't allow Denver to come back in it. And honestly, Jokic didn't even have any help because Murray was a non-factor. OG's defense was phenomenal against him. He was also off, but I just thought OG didn't allow him to have his way. He shut him down, and that's what you have to do. When you come in games, you can't allow these guys to come into the Garden and have their way and want to score a career high of 50 points and 60 points. Enough of that. You can't allow teams to come in your home and disrespect your home where you guys play. And he said, despite the win, we still need to strengthen the bench. We do. Because if you watched in the fourth quarter with the bench in, it's not like a strong bench. You know what I mean? And I believe OG was still in for the most of that quarter because you needed someone else. Like, yeah, Grimes had a good game. Deuce had a pretty decent game, but there's still missing pieces there. And that's one of my concerns going into the postseason is that if the Knicks don't make a move to bring in someone to one or two pieces to bring some help towards the team before the February trade deadline, my concern is okay, the Knicks make the playoffs. Besides the starting unit, who else do they have to put in the game? There's no backups. Brunson's gonna have to play the whole game, is what we're saying. Because that's what I'm wondering. Like, so Tibbs is gonna play Brunson the whole game, and you're gonna play Randall the whole game, and they're only gonna be able to get a minute or two of rest or timeouts, and there's no one else there's no backup. So, I get that the Knicks they're waiting around, they're probably trying to go to get somebody, for the low and get them for cheap. This way they can make a bigger move in the off season, which is fine if that's what you're gonna do, but you gotta make some kind of move. I just think the way this team is constructed, and I've said this already, it's not going to take the Knicks far in the postseason. OG now creating his own scoring. Yeah. OG does a fantastic job shooting the short three, the shortest three-pointer in the corner. He knocks those down. He's like money when he gets the ball in that corner and he can hit that shot down. So, yeah. Yeah, we haven't had it in a while, but that was great. But we'll definitely be back again next month. That was a great episode. Shout out to Queen, aka Steph, and Dope Soul Sports and Knicks Talk. And shout out to Ebony too, and all the other ladies, BX Chris, Tsunami, and Diva Locks. We will be back again next month for another episode. Always lots of fun chatting it up with them about all things New York Knicks. So great show. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Like the Knicks have to go out against Miami tomorrow with that same aggression as you did against. Like, don't take Miami lightly. I think the Knicks have to come out really aggressive. They got to set the tone in the first quarter, come out with the energy, and if they do that, they'll be successful. And it's funny because when I asked Diva Lock her prediction for this week, she said 3-0. I said 2-1. I'm pending. I'm pending for tomorrow only because I thought Denver was going to be our problem game. Now, look, I'm knocking on wood, literally, because sometimes you know how the Knicks do this. They'll allow the team that they're supposed to really beat, case in point, Miami tomorrow, come out and the game is close. It's a back and forth where they playing a little sloppy. Not putting that out in the air, but we know this is something that the Knicks do. Salute Sharice Duncan. Welcome to the channel. If it's your first time here, subscribe to the channel. Salute. He said, have to smoke Miami tomorrow. Yeah, I want to see the Knicks really put Miami away. The same way they did to Denver, I want them to put them away. The same way you did to the Philly, do the same thing to Miami. I don't want to see Jimmy having his way. I don't want to see Bam having his way. I don't want to see Tyler Hero shooting threes from everywhere on the floor. The defense has to be on point tomorrow. And I want to see the Knicks come out with energy because, again, sometimes when they have an early game, the energy isn't there. This game is not a 12 o'clock game. It's a 3 o'clock game. So it's more than enough time for the Knicks to, get ready, get warmed up. So Paris said, low key, the secret sauce on this team is that 2 college championship backcourt, Brunson and DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo's become, yeah. And that's what I was saying at the beginning of this episode. DiVincenzo's been very consistent. And that's why he got that starting spot. I remember when like the start of this season came about, and I remember saying to Diva that I was monitoring both Grimes minutes because at this point Grimes was still in the starting 5, and I was going to be monitoring DiVincenzo's minutes. And I remember telling her, I said, as soon as Tibbs start putting DiVincenzo in the game more and more, I said, eventually Grimes is going to go to that bench. Just before Grimes even made that comment and the frustration that he had. And I know Steph was saying Grimes made a case for some more frustration that he had with the team. But when I saw DiVincenzo shooting that ball the way he did, which I already knew he could shoot like that, I said, because he's making that shot more and he's more consistent, DiVincenzo is going to take that starting spot away from Grimes. I knew it was only a matter of time before eventually Tibbs was going to have to ride out and rock with DiVincenzo and put Grimes in the second unit, which isn't a bad thing for Grimes. Grimes seems to be more comfortable anyway coming off the bench. But DiVincenzo, he's been very consistent so far for us. I have to say he's been a nice third option, fourth option at times, depending on the night. But he's been very solidly consistent with the 15, 16 points a game. Sometimes he gives us 20, but it's needed. It's needed. You need other guys. And then having OG too. I think OG's been a great fit for this team because it takes that pressure of scoring off of both Randall and Brunson having be the two to always score. And they got to drop 35 and the other one got to give you another 25, 30 or 40 points. It shouldn't have to be like that every night. Randall has 17, but he had a well-rounded game. I think Randall's also playing a lot more poised and he's under control. He's not, the decision making seems to be, he's making smarter decisions in games. I like the way he was taking the ball to the basket, and then Brunson was just out there doing Brunson things. So just driving, having his way, taking it to whoever was there, Jokic, Gordon. He didn't care who it was. He was just like, I'm gonna get shots off and do what I need to do. But yeah, I think DiVincenzo is like, I don't know, the Villanova boys has been a nice addition to the Knicks team. Like maybe the Knicks did have something up their sleeve, bringing them, Heats have more experience, coach, so Tibbs must sit up. Yeah, I agree. Because I've said if Spoelstra coached the Knicks, I think the Knicks would be a better team. Like, no hesitation. If Spoelstra was coaching the Knicks, I think that the Knicks would definitely be a better team. So, Sharice Duncan said, OG was definitely an X factor with his defense. Yeah. OG's defense, he has like, the way he just puts his body in positioning to like get steals. He's like reading from the other end of the court. Like, I see he's about to make this pass over here. And he just gets his body where he needs to go. So that way he can just get that steal, or he's coming from behind and swiping it, stealing the ball out of guys' hands. I really like the way OG plays defense. He just plays defense very smart. He gets himself in the right places where he needs to be. And he's just aggressive. I really like the way OG plays defense. And, I think that not to just his defense, but the fact that he's also contributing offensively as well. And he doesn't really need to, but if he has the hot hand like he did against Denver, I'm for it. Continue to keep shooting, continue to keep driving. But a lot of the baskets that he gets, they're easy layups or dunks because he's active. He has active hands and feet. He's moving. He's getting to where he needs to get. And the other guys are seeing that, and they're throwing that nice lob pass straight down the court and finding him, and it's just working. And I thought the Knicks also did a really good job cutting to the basket. Guys were moving without the ball. And I've been saying that when the Knicks do that, they're a lot more successful. And I'm even more happy to see it considering Hartenstein is not there catching a ball at the free throw line, ready to pass it. So the fact that guys are moving without the ball is impressive, and I'm loving what I'm seeing. To be honest, I really am. Parrish, shout out to Sims and Precious for having a foot speed to keep Joker. Yeah, I actually was impressed with Sims' defense on him. He was fronting Joker, but Sims is strong. So he was able to like really, not allow. I mean, again, Jokic is just you could have great defense on him. It's just better offense. He's just that good. Because there was even one play where Precious Achua literally had his hand in Joker's face. And I remember laughing. I said that was a good effort. But he was gonna make that shot regardless. And there was a few times where I saw guys didn't box him out and Joker was able to just tip the ball back in, and he doesn't really jump off of his feet. But I thought that was good defense by both Sims and Precious, nonetheless. Yeah, I think he is though. I thought he made it as a reserve. I thought I heard that today. But I agree. I think it speaks a lot about the New York Knicks fan base and just in general, like why didn't people vote in Jalen Brunson? I'm still trying to figure that out, like how he didn't get enough votes to make it in. I don't know. Yeah, he's definitely gonna flop. What's crazy is they like to complain and say Jalen Brunson flops, but it's not that. Jalen just knows how to do that great move where he allows the defense to move his body so he like almost bounces off of the player and he's able to catch the contact, or he's able to swoop his hands under, and that's how he's able to get the contact. I mean, he practices this, so he does it really well. Month got to turn into a weekly thing, ladies. That female only be wanna. Yeah, you know what? I think we got to talk to Steph about that. And maybe myself or Ebony could host it on our channels and take turns. So I'll definitely speak to them about this. Because I know Steph has her own show and she has two shows that she's doing. She has a newsletter. She has a lot going on in the content creation world. And not to mention she has a life, outside of this. But nonetheless, she's the main one setting it up. But for sure, I mean, if I don't mind having it hosting it on here on Two Knicks Chicks channel. I am going to start inviting guests to come on with me, and we'll see. But I agree. I think that we the panel that show does really well, and people seem to be very receptive of it. So that's pretty dope. He did, but here's the thing with Grimes, right? He'll, like I said earlier, Grimes will play well in a game like yesterday, and then the next 2, 3 games he has a quiet game. So I'm not really sure like what's the deal with that with Grimes. Like I don't know, and again, I get that every night is not going to be a player's night. You know what I mean? And Grimes, this is only his third year in the league. He's still growing, but Grimes could be very streaky. One night he gives you 10, 12 points, the next game or two, Grimes don't even get a basket. Forget a free throw, he don't even get a basket. So, with Grimes, he's very inconsistent and streaky. And I know Grimes is gonna get better and correct that. But I wish he was a lot more consistent. And I'm not asking for him to score 18, 19 points a night, but 10, 12 ain't that hard either. 10 points a night is not that bad either. But yeah, that's my thing with Grimes. The confidence, he looked great. I thought Grimes looked like this is what he do every night, the way he was playing in Denver. You know, he was driving to that basket with confidence, making those layups, the reverse layups, shooting the shots where he wanted to, making good passes. But it's my thing with Grimes is, can he continue to do that on a night in, night out basis? Like, can he pull that off against Miami tomorrow? And he's one of the guys that I'm looking forward to do that. Whereas I feel like Deuce looks a lot more confident when he comes in and he's able to just come out and he shoots his shot. Even when Deuce was only getting like 4 minutes a game, you know, he was coming out there chucking up a shot quick. Deuce was like, no, I'm going to get my shot off. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think the confidence level is definitely, there's a difference between the two guys. But yeah. And Anobi with Grimes, McBride, DiVincenzo in the center as a checkmate. Yeah. Yeah. I think if Grimes and McBride can be consistent, absolutely. And McBride's been pretty good since he got in the contract. He's been pretty steady. If Grimes could get on board and be just as steady, the Knicks are really, they have something going on defense. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Grimes, I'm for sure gonna not take that away from him on defense. He's a monster on defense. Like he knows how to move his feet. You know, it's very rare you see the offensive player rolling past Grimes. You know, he plays really good D. Um, McBride too. He's not the tallest, but he can keep up with guys too. I mean, and McBride seems to have lessened up how many fouls he was committing before. He was like committing too many quick fouls before. But I like what I see. And OG's defense is just great. Great. I agree. Against Denver, the Knicks only had 8 turnovers. That's impressive. If the Knicks can keep the turnovers to 10 or less, they are a lot more successful. So I think that's going to be crucial too. You can't have 15, 17 turnovers tomorrow against Miami. The Knicks have to really learn to protect the ball a lot better and, you know, cut it out with the loose balls and losing. That can't happen. So that's what Eddie said. But I thought Brunson was chosen as a reserve. Eddie said Brunson didn't even get voted in as a reserve, but I heard earlier that he was. I'm like, did something change that fast? Salute a Negro one. He said New York hate by other parts of the country is real, and New York media and fan base eats our own like cannibals. Yeah, I don't know what that's about though. It's just so weird to me. I'm like, how do you not vote in? Because it's Jalen Brunson's team. You know, and the Knicks are not like a horrible team where you can be like, oh, they were overlooked. No one's really, you know, Washington Wizards or the Charlotte Hornets and no one. But like, how do you not? I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a fan base and followers. I mean, the Knicks are a huge market. New York is a huge market, but like, is it a social media thing too? And people because he don't have a lot of followers, or because he's on the Knicks, and I don't know what it is. It's just very weird to me. Parrish said Grimes got to play with McBride to play calmer. Grimes can't play with Randall and starters. But he's been playing in the second unit. I just think sometimes it depends on the night. Because, yeah, sometimes Grimes will end up playing with both Randall and the other starters. But I think that Grimes has been playing on the bench unit. You know, I just think that, you know, like I said, some nights players are going to be off, but I think it's his confidence sometimes that looks a little suspect. And you're wondering, like, where's the confidence with him? But I'm going to pay attention to that with him playing with McBride. Agreed. Brunson is definitely a reserve. There shouldn't have been any question about whether or not Jalen Brunson is an NBA All Star. He's for sure an All Star. Like he was snubbed last season, and I was like, had high hopes for this year. Like, okay, he's gonna get voted in. So again, I'm not sure what happened in community and why we didn't aggressively go out and vote this man in the All-Star. It's just strange. It's strange. Salute, coach. Yeah, exactly. I think it is. I think it's also because Brunson, like I was saying, I heard a caller call into ESPN earlier, ESPN radio, and this guy, he was explaining how he's a huge Knicks fan, but he was saying basically what you're alluding to. He said, I think because Jalen Brunson doesn't play kind of like flashy, not necessarily comparing his game to Trae Young, but because he's not shooting the ball from, damn near half court like Steph Curry and making the threes in, or because he's not doing those crazy crossover moves, fans just overlooked him, and I don't know if it's also a popularity thing with social media because, maybe Jalen Brunson doesn't have as many followers as some other players who got a ton of. I don't know. It's just so weird. I don't know what that was about to me, but I do think for sure it's heavily on related on popularity. And I don't know why. I don't know why Knicks fans don't vote. I think that's silly. I get it that the All-Star weekend has been quite boring lately. The dunk contest has been boring lately and it's been trash. No one really is paying attention to it as much. But I think it doesn't cost you anything to vote. It's free. They're not asking anything of you. I mean, maybe the email, which is a little annoying for some people, but yeah. Win in the playoffs and we will start next year. And he will start next year. Yeah. But that's what I was alluding to earlier. I think the Knicks are not going to start being respected as a team until they prove that they are a playoff bound team every season. They make the playoffs and they're not just a first round, second round knockout team. I'm talking about their Eastern Conference Finals championship contending team. And I think when the Knicks start winning more games and going out having a really good Eastern Conference season with wins, and they're known as the top three, top four team. And right now, I believe the Knicks are sitting at four. But I think the Knicks, that's what they have to do. Like right now, they're capturing people's attention because the Knicks, this is a second round of 5 games in a row of a win streak. Win tomorrow, beat Miami, that's 6 in a row. And I know last year when they did it after Josh Hart came aboard, they had won 9 games in a row. But I just think that the Knicks are not going to really get that respect as an organization and a team until they really truly start winning on a consistent basis and become that team every year who's known as, having a great record, and not only just a great regular season record to set them up in perfect standings, or I should say a good standings to start the playoffs, but known to get into that Eastern Conference Finals round. They're not just a first round knockout team, and it's like, yay, or they make the second round. Okay, cool. It's not good enough. And I think this year too, they have to prove that they're not just, a first, second round team. And the Knicks can get past these other teams. Joker ain't flashy. People see what they want. Yeah. Yeah. Brunson's footwork. And it's crazy how many games he catches guys with that same move. But he has so many moves under his arsenal. It's not even funny. Like I'm just like, and he caught a few guys in Denver yesterday. I mean, and he'll have 3, 4 guys looking one way because they're thinking that Brunson's passing a ball, and it's just a simple punk fake that he does, and he's able to free himself to do a nice, easy finger roll or a bank shot, or his mid-range jumpers that he's so clutch at doing. But his footwork is immaculate. It's just on point. I mean, I got to give it to him. So you think Knicks fans are primarily an older fan base? Or do you think that it's mixed? It's like half or a good percentage of young, but majority of it's an older crowd, an older fan base? Because that's a good point too, Coach, that the Knicks fan base is primarily an older fan base, which could be, I mean, it's still inexcusable. You don't have to necessarily have an app to vote, or maybe because they're not into that. Is that what you're saying? Like they're not the type to go out and be like, oh, I'm gonna go and vote and go to the website. And I don't, I'm still trying to figure out why. I'm sure my 15-year-old son voted for Dame. I'll ask before the show ends. Yeah, that's what Diva Locks was saying. She was like, I can't believe Dame made it in over Brunson. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what it is. But see, that's the thing. I think that a lot of people don't care about the All-Star game. So they're like, I don't. We've had people tell us in the chat, they're like, I don't really care about the All-Star game. Like that doesn't phase them. I think people get Knicks fans especially get more excited when we get to that postseason. When we get to the playoffs, Knicks fans are like, yo, I'm hyped. The Knicks are in. The energy is different. But I feel like for the All-Star break, I remember asking Diva Loxus, I said, what do you think it is? Do you think that people just don't care about it because it's not as fun as it used to be? Or, like the dunk contest is not as exciting as same dunks we saw already. No one's doing anything different or original anymore. So I don't know what it is that people are just not as impressed. I know, and I'm one of those people. I'm like, the All-Star weekend comes and I'm like, that's cool. You know what I mean? But I'm not like rushing to put it on. If I catch it, I catch it. If not, I'll go to YouTube and watch the highlight, or go to the NBA and watch the highlights. I'm not. Parrish said Brunson has played over 300 more minutes than Halliburton and a lot more than Mitchell. Him not starting is BS. I agree. Yeah, Halliburton was another one that I'm like, but y'all voted him, but y'all didn't vote. It's crazy to me. Yeah, exactly. This is what I don't get that. I'm still trying to figure that one out. So what do you think they're fans of just the individual player? Like, do you think it's just more like the young fan base just has their favorite player who they like, and that's who, like, yeah, I like LeBron. I like, whoever they like, and that's just who they rocking with. I think Randall will be okay. I mean, I know when he was told he didn't make it, he did have a bad game that game, but I think Randall will be okay, to be honest. I think Randall just needs to be focused on continuing out this season and being ready to step up in the playoffs, because that's when we need him. We need you in the playoffs. We need you to step up and not fade away. We need him to be right there with Brunson and contributing and giving us points in what we need. So, but I agree. We don't know sometimes with Randall, like mentally, where he can go. He has these moments where he's checked in and checked out. So but I think he'll be okay. Like he's already made it past 2 seasons. We get it. You've done that. Cool. Take advantage of the rest. Knicks fans not internet crazy. Yeah, I guess it's like what Coach was saying. The Knicks fans are predominantly an older fan base, and they're not really, I don't even want to say that they're not tech savvy, but they're not going to run to the internet to go place a vote. They're not going to run to their phones and go on an app to go and vote for the All Stars. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen that way. I think Knicks fans have more care once the Knicks make the playoffs. And then they're watching to see what do they do in the playoffs. So I just think, and also, like I said, people just don't really care like that about the All Star um, weekend. Randall should make it. Brunson has a better case. Dame's super popular in commercial raps and is deadly from, yeah, but I don't know. I like Dame and all, but I'm just not crazy about that whole like he made it, bro. I don't know. Yeah. Brunson got hurt because of the New York hate, Dolan hate, and old fans who don't go on websites. They used to ballot boxes. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. You hit the nail on the head with that one. Yeah, Dolan, I mean, he's even been bringing the wrong attention to the Knicks with his whole allegations that's been, you know, alleged allegations, with him and the whole assault that's been under him. And yeah, I know Adam Silver's still looking into that. So I'm watching to see how that goes and what happens with that. But yeah, he needs to worry about himself. But yeah, he doesn't help either. He doesn't. I just think that the Knicks have to figure out a way to do better marketing next year for Brunson, for Randall, and before games and at the Garden, and I just think on social media they have to do a better job of. And again, I've seen a few posts here and there, but I just don't think it was enough, like marketing wise, for sure. No one likes him. He hasn't brought the team in the right direction yet. And the only reason why they're moving in the right direction is because Leon is there. Otherwise than that, the Knicks have been terrible and painful to watch, actually. As a true Knicks fan, it's been painful. We've been through enough. But yeah, the Knicks play tomorrow at 3. I will be back with some post-game coverage for sure. I'll probably catch some of you in the chats. I usually watch salute to still Knicks fans, Ron and John on Saturdays. I haven't seen Queen do any Saturday shows, but I definitely will be back. I'm excited about tomorrow's game. I want to see what the Knicks do against Miami, who's, to me, this is a game they should be beating. I want to make them allow me to eat my words because I said 2-1 for this week. I know Diva Locks had them at 3-0. She said she's being optimistic, and I love the optimism. So we will see. And then after that, the Knicks have a break. They don't play again until next Monday against Charlotte, another team that the Knicks have already put away and beat. Should be no reason why you should be losing. And they just lost Terry Rozier. So, and I'm not sure if LaMelo's back yet. He's always out with an ankle injury or something. So yeah, tomorrow's game, it's very winnable. Actually, the next 2 games, very winnable, very winnable. But I want to salute to the chat today. I love when you guys join me. I truly appreciate you guys watching and reaching out. Salute to Eddie as always. I appreciate you, Eddie. Salute to Parish Duggar. I appreciate you. Sharice Duncan, salute. Welcome to the channel. It's my first time seeing you here. And a Negro, let me know if I'm pronouncing your name right. A Negro 1, salute to you for joining. Coach SAR 617, salute to you. I appreciate all of you guys for joining me today. I'm going to go with the Knicks winning tomorrow. That's my predictions. I definitely see production from Randall, Brunson, OG, DiVincenzo, and I would like to see production from both Grimes and Deuce, to be honest. I want to be able to see them get a nice lead so that the starters could sit down in the fourth the same way they did in for Denver. And I want to see the second unit come in, which is not a strong second unit. We all know that. But I would like to see those guys be able to come in, and we'll see what they can do. But D-Rod, salute. Salute, salute. I am, Parish. I am. I'm watching Sims. I really liked what I saw from him in Denver. I actually thought he looked better in the Denver game. But I'm gonna keep my eye on him. And I think, you know what, this is a good opportunity for Sims to get out there and get his reps in, as Diva Loxovi says. So I want to see what he can do out there with Hartenstein out until he comes back, until Mitch comes back. And Precious Achua, I think he's proven to Knicks fans who were saying, oh, this guy is whack. He can't catch the basketball. He's trash. He's not tall enough. He can't shoot. He can't do. This is their opportunity for next man up to get in the game, be aggressive, and step up and contribute as part of the supporting cast. And this is what the Knicks need, the supporting cast members to come in the games, step up, and be a contributing factor alongside both Brunson and Randall. So, I'm gonna lay off for Sims. I really am. I'm not gonna harp on them. Long, a Negro 1. Long A Negro 1. Okay. Got you. I appreciate you joining though, for real. So yeah, typically we do post-game coverage, but I will be back for the Miami game. I do want to go over that game. Again, I'm gonna be watching because I want to see how the Knicks throw down against Miami. Miami's just like that annoying pesky team. They're like a annoying mosquito that won't go away. So yeah, Precious is the perfect backup to Randall. He can shoot the three if Tibbs let him. Yeah, I've been wanting to see him do that. But sometimes I feel like with Tibbs and the coaching staff in New York, I don't think they want the big guys shooting threes. Because I've said this before. I wonder why Hartenstein has like diverted from shooting his floater, which he kind of touched on a little bit before he got hurt. And then he's also capable of shooting a three, which we don't need that from him every day. But occasionally, if you have it, take it. And I just don't see him doing that. And I'm not sure why, because I don't think that his game should be put in a box like Mitchell Robinson when he has a bit more to offer offensively. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But I would like to see Precious shoot the three, go after more jumpers as well, and prove that he can knock them down. And I think if he can, then Tibbs will let it fly, and won't say anything. So exactly, exactly. No Joker in Gotham. Exactly. So yeah, salute to Diva Locks. She just came into the chat. Diva Locks, the chat miss you. Sims is the best matchup on Adebayo. Same height, power, and foot speed. Yeah, Sims is really strong. Sims reminds me of Mitchell Robinson. Those guys really hit the weights. They're like really, really strong. Like Randall strong. Randall's really strong too, but I agree. I think Sims is gonna have to, because see, Bam, he can beat you off the post. He can shoot the mid range. So Sims is gonna have to really, move like he did against Jokic. You have to. I want to see him. One thing I did like that Sims did against Jokic. He was face defending him. So he was like front guarding him at times, which I thought was smart. But yeah, I just want to see Sims be aggressive against Bam, because Bam is a dirty player. He plays aggressive, but he could be a little dirty. So I want to see Sims go ahead and take advantage and really, really play that solid, tight defense against him, which is very much possible. Coach said Knicks are legit too deep at every position with a chance to add without touching core. Yeah, but we need backups. We need some solid backups, because I wonder, like, okay, the Knicks are in the playoffs, right? And they're doing the best out of five series or whatever it is. And the Knicks, first two games, they play great. But then that third game, the Knicks are struggling knocking down the ball. And you don't really have no other options, because Randall may be off, Brunson may be off, hell, Dante DiVincenzo may be off. So who else do you have in to come in that can knock down a shot? Because this was our issue last year when we played against Miami. We couldn't knock down a shot. We struggled. So we need somebody or two who can be a walking bucket, who can shoot the ball, and who could also bring the ball down the court too at times. That's so Randall don't, I mean, excuse me, so Brunson don't always have to bring the ball down. Sims' perimeter defense will be useful on Bam. Yeah, agreed. I can totally see him checking Bam, and who knows, he may take Bam out of his game. I'm not doubting Sims. I think Sims, I love his strength. He's aggressive when going after the rebounds and in the different boards throughout the game. He's capable of blocking shots. And Precious has always been a nice backup too. He's very aggressive on the defensive end as well. So I think between the both of them, like I said, it has to be next man up. Remember, Tibbs is a coach who the player has to earn his trust, and once you get it, he's riding with you. Yeah, that's very true. Tibbs is very based on trust. And, I mean, right now, you just got to trust in that first unit, because the second unit, you don't really have much options. But I would like to see the second unit get in tomorrow and play, as long as the Knicks have a nice lead. I would like to see the starting unit get a nice lead so that those guys can come in. Lose that confidence and you be relegated to the bench. Yeah, like Grimes. whose confidence has been very up and down. And Randall needs to do that more. Randall is very successful when he plays bully ball because it's simple. It doesn't require a bunch of navigating to the basket. He's already close to the basket. And also, you know, I think with Randall, I'm noticing he's not going after the 3-point shot as much, which is fine because when he is taking the threes, he's knocking them down, right? But when Brando plays bully ball, he's very strong. And if he does that more, I'm like, yo, the Knicks will be easy baskets you can get or get fouled trying, as I like to say. But if Randall plays bully ball, he's successful. He can get down there and get those rebounds, and he does a great job at once he gets the rebound. He does a nice hesitation. He's patient. He waits and he goes up at the right time, and he's able to get the basket and a lot of times the and one and get to the free throw line. But Randall did. He definitely had his way against Denver. I mean, he needs to do the same thing against Miami. Same thing. McBride, Simpson, Achua. Our 11, 12, 13, the back of our bench is solid. You think so, Parrish? You think so? Yeah. When you look at, so originally when you looked at the Eastern Conference and you looked at fourth seed through the eighth, it was very close. And it still is kind of like, but I think the Knicks are starting to make separation. So if the Knicks continue to keep winning, they're going to separate themselves from the pack. Because not too long ago, the Knicks were just in, what were we in, like seventh? And then they moved up, moved up. So you got Cleveland right in fifth, but listen, I think the only ones that have a little bit of separation right now is Boston. But Philly, they're right there. Milwaukee's right there. And even with Milwaukee getting Doc as their coach, Doc typically his team they choke in the postseason. They never go that far. So I know they're looking for a defensive minded coach who can get those guys to play defense, but we'll see. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to become better defensively, Milwaukee, you know? So, yeah. But the Knicks are moving up in the Eastern Conference, and I love to see it. And this is part of what I think is making people notice the Knicks, and they're taking notice that the Knicks are making moves. And I like them being the underdogs. I like people sleeping on the Knicks, and I think they should continue to because I think the Knicks have something to prove. So watch for Jimmy. He's playing like crap, but he's going to come alive tomorrow. Was you really meaning to say Himmy, or was you meant to say Jimmy? Because the H and the J is next to each other on the keyboard. But if you call him Himmy, I think that's funny. He's playing like crap, but he's gonna come. Yeah, they do that against the Knicks, where they'll be playing like crap, and then all of a sudden, I don't know. It's something about when they play the Knicks, it's like they become electrified with energy, and all of a sudden they could score 50 points, 40 points. I don't know what it is, but the way the Knicks are playing defense, I don't see that happening. Sure, you may have that better player on the team who may give you 30 to 40 points, but I see the Knicks keeping control tomorrow. Suggest y'all listen to the Teams We Beat podcast. Denver headline was Denver got punked. Denver Sports Losers Lounge. We getting noticed. Yeah. And shout out to Sim and Tony with the Losers Lounge. It's a really good show, by the way. Under the Nothing But Knicks channel. If you guys are not subscribed already, go subscribe to that channel. Salute to Tony Crow. But yeah, the Knicks, they embarrassed Denver, embarrassed them. And that's what the Knicks have to continue to keep doing to teams. Embarrass them and put them away. Other teams have no hesitation doing that to the Knicks. So I want to see the Knicks take advantage and do that to other teams. But we will be back tomorrow. We, or maybe just me, doesn't matter. We're still here, two Knicks chicks. I think tonight Steph comes on. So if you guys are not subscribed, most of you are, check her out. She's going to do her weekly panel tonight. Shout out to Steph, Jeff, Jarrell, and Ajay. And yeah, I'm going to see everybody tomorrow because we're going to be talking more Knicks and the upcoming schedule and what they have going on. But until next time, as I always say, thanks for joining me and peace.